Hello everyone, welcome back to in today's video. Once again, I'm going to be slightly speculating on what the collab could be. That's because we are coming close to the collab. The collab will start, I was supposed to say leaking, but showing or giving us more information. They'll give us like day one when it comes to, I think, Monday. I'm not sure what time, but Monday, of course, they'll say day one, what day one's going to be. And they'll give us like a slight hint. 9 times out of 10, it'll be an isekai. It's got magic in it, apparently, or from what we've seen in the leaked files. It has an ice spell and an ice attack and something called a sword flare attack as well. So what I've done is I have put 2 shows together that I've watched and that I do think could be collab. They do fit in the category of being isekai and made by the same company, which sort of makes it quite highly likely because it came out with the same company as Shield Hero, ReZero, Konosuba. I guess Konosuba hasn't collabed with 7DS, but it's a possibility. Going for the big isekai shows. The first one we're going to do is probably one that a lot of people want, and that is Overlord. So, of course, if we do have an Overlord collaboration, we will be getting Irons. I'm going to go over characters I think it could be, and then we'll go over who, it might be. So, of course, if they're adding an Overlord collaboration, it'll be these two, which is Albedo and Irons. That's because they are the key character, or they're the main faces of Overlord. Of course, you've got Irons being the main character, and Albedo sort of being his second in command. Sort of, she's a very popular character as well. So of course they're gonna have these two. Every collab, every collab that I have seen that a game has done with Overlord, they have had these two characters in it. So now we get to the blurry lines because there are 6 characters that have been leaked. So what this means is, it is a new collab, because of course there's 6 characters, and they're not just going to randomly add 6 characters to a rerun. But what this means is that we're going to be getting, my speculation is 2 bosses and 4 characters. 4 new characters. Of course, one of the characters will always be free, that's just how they do it. But what I could see them doing is doing a dual boss. So what this means is, recently with the Giants, we had the Dual Giants event for the Ragnarok Festival. I do believe they might do something like that, because in the other show I'm also going to do as well, there's a sort of scene where they do that as well. But they might just have 2 separate bosses, sort of like what ReZero did when they did the rerun. I'm pretty sure they had added 2 bosses. They added, I don't know what they added. They added the rabbits and something else, which is kind of cool, and I like that. But let's get into this. So, of course, these 2 will 100% be in it. You have, this is a picture I took. I do own the manga for Overlord. And this is to do with the ice ability. So you have Cocytus here, who is the sovereign of the frozen river. So ice, frozen, and in the anime a lot, he has a lot of stuff to do with ice. He's got a normal attack. So with the leaked files, we also got, sometimes it say like cast and then the attack, or it would just say attack. So he doesn't actually, I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually use any spells in the show. I don't actually remember. I have kept up with the show, but not I remember he casts any spells, but he's called Cocytus of the Frozen River, so that is a sort of big thing. And here you got Demiurga, and then, of course, Albedo right next to, and a very angry Sholtir in the right corner, top right corner. But he's the creator of Inferno. In the show, I don't think he has a sort of like a skill called Sword Flare, but we have to realize that it's Netmarble, and we have Echidna in the game, who in ReZero doesn't actually fight. She just sits around hoping that Subaru will stay in the teapot forever, because that's just how she works. But she's a very good character, she has very good skills, and I do think they could do that. But in my opinion, Demiurga's sort of on the line of being good and bad. I'm not, okay, this isn't like a spoiler or anything. If you haven't watched Season 2, this is like, it's not the main plot, but it's something they do at the end. He could be evil as well. He's not actually evil in the show, but for this part of the scene, he's playing the part of an evil person, so Irons is able to gain the favour of the humans and other people he wants to sort of have influence on and gain power too. This is a scene where he goes evil and Irons fights in his human form against Mr. Demiurga here. But I do think that he could be a boss, and they're just doing 2 different bosses. If not, you've got this dude, which is the Platinum Dragon, I'm pretty sure he's called in the show, which is a piece of armor controlled by a dragon who could have a stance skill. I think he could have a stance skill. He has a lot of like floating weapons, so it could be like a counter stance or just a normal defensive stance, because he does look like he'd be a very tanky opponent if they were to add him to the game. So characters I do think they could add, for example, I'm not sure if this guy has any ice spells. If he has any ice skills, then Cocutus could be completely off the table. I do kind of want Cocutus because I do think he will be quite a big difference to what we currently have. He's quite a large build. He's got a lot of arms. We don't have a lot of unique unknown characters. All the characters we have are very human-like, apart from, of course, Hawk and Oslo and Rusla and Rimmer. Apart from that, everyone else has a very human form shape. We don't have any monsters like what Cocutus was, and I do think that could be quite a cool thing to have. Of course, I'm not including Camilla's transformed form in that. But I do think having a character like this would be kind of cool to the game. He has a really cool sword as well. If you've watched the recent season, or season 4, it's not even really recent, it came out last year now, but he has a very cool sword, and he's very cool. I do think a character they could add could be Shaltir, who is a vampire, so that could work well for lifesteal, some sort of unknown HP boost, a HP substat booster that isn't Beatrice. Beatrice is the only substat booster for unknowns. That isn't Nanashi. But yeah, that is really it for Overlord. Of course, everyone is kind of hoping they do kind of want Overlord. We will eventually get an Overlord, because that's just how it works. It's a very popular show. 7DS has recently collaborated with Overlord, and they've done several collaborations in the past, whether that be through artwork or through the. I think Overlord has a game. I'm not sure if it's even global anymore. It might just be JP only, but they have collaborated with that game before. So it does sort of mean the companies have spoken. The IPs have spoken. They have had connections before. And maybe that sort of built a bridge, and now they're able to make it. Of course, be able to create a character or create a collaboration from it. And I'm not going to say because they had a collab like ages ago, it's not going to happen, because they admit to us they've had the IP for AOT for 2 years, and see what we got. We got nothing. So they may have had the IP for Overlord for ages as well, and they might just be releasing it now. On to the next one. And on to the other one I think it could be, which is, of course, Eminence in Shadow, because it's a decently popular show, and they when Eminence in Shadow first dropped, when the show actually first came out, 7 Deadly Sins and I think Eminence in Shadow did like an art collaboration, like they collaborated for like a piece of like a promotional artwork or whatever it was. I don't actually remember what it was. It was at the start of this year sometime, when I was saying, oh, the next collab's going to be Eminence in Shadow, and it was Jobless Reincarnated, and we were all so happy about that. To be honest, I wasn't actually too upset in the end. But if we are to have Eminence in Shadow, we will definitely be getting Alpha, who, this is actually a picture from the mobile game itself. We will be getting her. She is what I would call the poster girl over the show. She is like the main female face. She's once again, she's like Albedo to Shadow, which is like a second. She's like a second in command for Shadow. So I think that she could be quite a good character. And of course, with Sword Flare, she's a pretty obvious one. We've got Iris, who in the final episode, spoiler alert, they end up fighting. She picks up this legendary sword, and she has a cool fire attack, where she tries vaporizing everyone, but completely misses. Onto this one here. This is another picture from the game. This is Beatrix, I'm pretty sure her name is. She also fights Shadow at the end, in a duo boss. So this is where I speak about the whole like dual boss thing, like we had with the Giants. In the actual anime, spoiler alert once again, Iris and Beatrix both fight Shadow at the same time, which is sort of like, yeah, okay, it could be them. And I think this is them fighting him here. You got Iris on this side, you got Beatrix on this side, of course you got Shadow in the middle, who is completely overpowered. And if there's anyone else, so currently we have Fire, we don't have an Ice skill. You've got Beta here, who is this is the promotional thing from the game. You can't see it, yeah, actually you can see this, but yeah, this is the promotional art they used to her in the game. But she has like an ice bow, which she fires a giant spell, and it's sort of like Scardy's ult, where it's like a wall of ice. Which I think she might be not too bad, a ranged attacker. My guess is that she wouldn't be too much of a support. Maybe, actually, no, too much of a DPS, she'd probably end up being a support. Maybe a character with a freeze debuff. We haven't had freeze in a while. But yeah, I don't really see a fourth. Maybe they would add the other woman. Forgot her name. Let me go find it back in a second. And this is found her. Is Alexia, which is Iris's youngest sister, which would kind of make sense because she is really close to Shadow, which would also kind of make sense because she is quite a main character in the show. You see it quite a bit, and yeah, that's really it. That's all I really have for evidence, is that Beta would have to go with these three to sort of make up the, of course, the trio, which would be these two as like the guaranteed characters where we would get. The ice, and you'd have to have Iris as like the fire, and then of course they could do Beatrix. They could, of course, do this scene, and then of course they might do Alexia, just to sort of finish the 4 characters they would add, and then they would do, of course, Iris and Beatrix as the enemies, sort of thing, as the dual boss, which I think would be kind of cool, having a dual collaboration boss instead of just having 2 separate bosses. I do think it would be a very cool idea, but of course it's Netmarble, and we never know, so we just have to wait and find out. It could be other shows as well. People are saying Sword Art. I wouldn't mind Sword Art as long as it's like the first season, and like before they escape Sword Art, so it's like actually half good. But things then you have like the Flare Sword, and they don't have any magic, so it's not going to be them. But of course, I would actually like Sword Art. Sword Art wouldn't be too bad. And to be honest, it's a collaboration, so we shouldn't really be complaining. At least they are adding stuff from other shows, which is kind of cool. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.